fellow Ambazonians, all man a place over there. As the governing council informed the Ambazonian people and the international community 2 days ago that the government of Cameroon, through the Norwegians, have called for a negotiated settlement to end the conflict in Ambazonia between the Ambazonia Governing Council and the government of Cameroon. We want to make this clear both to Norway and to Cameroon. One, Norway, the government of Norway must demonstrate leadership. The government of Norway must demonstrate public leadership. For Cameroon to take Norway serious, and for the Ambazonian people to take Norway serious, the government of Norway must demonstrate public leadership about their role, their intentions, and the commitment of Cameroon. That's one. Number two, it's hypocritical for Norway to send a delegation of diplomats to Cameroon, accept any concept of a negotiated settlement about the conflict, while Norway is still detaining the leader of the liberation, Dr. Lucas Ayaba. It's hypocritical for Norway to have a discussion with Cameroon and table Cameroon's request for a negotiation with the Ambazonian Governing Council, while Norway is keeping Dr. Lucas Ayaba in detention because of a politically motivated intent to decapitate the leadership. The Ambazonia Governing Council and the Ambazonian people will not accept these double standards. Not this time around. Number two, Norway should learn from the experiences of the Swiss and the Canadians. The Swiss failed to show public leadership during the Swiss intentions. And what happened to that process? Cameroon rejected the process and said they had nothing to do with the process, and never gave the Swiss any authority to organize or have discussions about a negotiated settlement with those that travel to Switzerland. But it took 2.5 years for continuous manipulation and deception of the Ambazonian people that there was something going on, whereas there was nothing going on, because the Swiss failed to demonstrate public leadership. Cameroon never committed. The Swiss failed to demonstrate public leadership about their own intentions. How many thousands of Ambazonians were killed during that 2.5 years process? How many villages were burnt? How many girls and women were raped? How many communities were destroyed during that 2-year process? How many Ambazonians were disappeared during that 2.5 year process? How many grandmothers were burnt alive during that period? How many Ambazonians were taken hostage and are still under Cameroon captivity during that period? Because of the failure of the Swiss to demonstrate public leadership, they enabled more Ambazonians to be killed, more children to be killed, more women to be raped, more communities to be destroyed. They empowered Mr. Biya to commit more atrocities and more crimes on the Ambazonian people. It's unacceptable. You want to do it or you don't want to do it. You want to play the role of a mediator or you don't want to play the role of a mediator. You can't have it both ways. There must be public leadership. What about the Canadian process? Canada convened the Ambazonian people and the Cameroonian and a delegation of Cameroonese. They had 3 rounds of underground talks. In Montebello, in Mont-Tremblant, and in Toronto. In the month of October, November, and December 2022. Canada failed to demonstrate a public leadership during that process, and Cameroon took advantage of it. The Canadian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Madame Joly, never came out to make any public statement about it. Everything was being done in the dark. The Canadian Prime Minister never came up to demonstrate public leadership about Canada's role to bring peace, to negotiate an end to the conflict. What ended up after the process? Even the simple protocol that was put in place as to how they would roll out the communication strategy, Cameroon didn't respect it. Mr. Biya went out, disgraced Canada, and disgraced the entire process. That's 2 years ago. It's been now 2 years and 3 months. What has happened between that period up until today? The war continues. More children are being killed. More communities are being razed down. More people are being displaced. Refugees are being created. More children are not going to school because Canada failed to provide public leadership. The Canadians failed themselves and they failed the international community. They failed Cameroon and they failed the Ambazonian people because of lack of public leadership, because of lack of ownership of the process. had Madame Jolie came out and took ownership of the process, demonstrated Canada's authority and leadership within the international community, that would have validated the process, and Cameroon would not be able to back out. That was missing. Even when the pre-talks agreement was signed, what happened to the press conference? Canada's supposed to call, bring international media, and announce the end of the pre-talks process and the agreement that was signed. That did not happen. Everything was done in the dark. And that's why Cameroon had to turn around, humiliate Mr. Trudeau, humiliate Madame Jolie, and humiliate the entire process with all the resources and the hospitality and the investments. Everything was thrown apart. We've been down this road, Norway. So just because you sent a delegation to Cameroon, they came back with a letter, means nothing to the Ambazonian people. It means nothing to the Ambazonia Governing Council. This is not a popularity contest where you think we're going to be excited because Norway wants to bring Cameroon and the AGovC together. That's not the outcome we seek. While we are open to have a negotiated settlement, but we are not interested in these backdoor games. What Norway should do, you went to Cameroon, come to the public and say, hey, we sent a delegation to Cameroon. They came back and Cameroon has committed to a negotiated settlement with the Ambazonia Governing Council. That's what a responsible government would do. That's what responsible people would do. That's what people that care about the conflict, they care about the impact, the humanitarian catastrophe. If you care about those things and you want to see those things come to an end, then there must be public leadership. You have to demonstrate public leadership. Maybe Norway has to learn some lessons from Mr. Trump. It's been just a month. This man came in as the president of the United States. What did he do? He told the world he wants to be a peace president. He appointed an envoy for the Middle East and sent the envoy to the Middle East to meet with the government of Israel and to meet with the leadership of Hamas. Within a week, they hammered out a ceasefire agreement and laid out the 3 phases to bring the conflict to an end. That's how you demonstrate leadership. It's public. The 3 phases of the ceasefire agreement are public information. The envoy is a public official. The meetings are public. When they met with the leadership of the Israeli government, they made it public. When they met with the leadership of Hamas, they made it public. When they went to Qatar and had the agreement signed, they made it public. Why are you afraid, Norway? Why are the Europeans so afraid of Cameroon? Why are you people afraid of Cameroon? Why are you afraid of Mr. Biya? Or are you just protecting the French interest? With complete disregard on the lives of the Ambazonian people. It will not be business as usual. The Ambazonia Governing Council has referred Norway to the leader. Any decision about a negotiated settlement will be made by Dr. Choluka Sayaba. Secondly, the AGovC has built a partnership with the United States, with our lobbyists in the United States, a partnership with Moran Global Strategies. Any discussion about a negotiated settlement must be done in consultation and in concert with our guarantors, with the US. Any discussion about a negotiated settlement between the Ambazonian people, between the Ambazonia Governing Council and Cameroun must be done in consultation and in concert with our partners in the United States. This is how it's going to be done going forward. Fellow Ambazonians, the Norwegian government is not going to take the Ambazonian people and play them like palapala football, like palapala, and play them like match ball. The government of Norway, it got for show public leadership for which he don't talk say one do. Without public leadership, all these backdoor talks, they means nothing, and the only thing where they go cause them, they go lead to more death and more killings of our people. They will lead to more destructions of our community. 2 days ago, the Ambazonia Governing Council, they can announce and for all we now, say Norway, they don't can tell the AGovC, say it be send a delegation of diplomats for go visit Mr. Paul Biya and the people of Cameroun and the government of Cameroun. That delegation come back with a letter from Mr. Paul Biya, where he talks, they say, a letter from Mr. Paul Biya to the Ambazonia Governing Council, where he talks, say, the government of Cameroun will be interested for start a negotiation process directly with the Ambazonia Governing Council. We come out, we can give you that information. Now, we can tell Norway today, say for the Ambazonian people for take Norway serious, and for take what Norway don't take them serious, the Norwegians, they must show public leadership. Norway itself must come out for outside. It can't talk say, we, the government of Norway, will be send a delegation to Cameroun. That delegation don't come back. Now the letter this way, Mr. Paul Biya is sent them for the Ambazonia Governing Council, say he won't get into negotiation with the Ambazonia Governing Council on behalf of the Ambazonian people. Now the first thing that we know we got for doing, for give a own process credibility, for put a face into the process, for show the international community Norway its own seriousness. Why this one be important? Norway must learn from the experiences of the failure of the Swiss intention and the Canadian process. That's how they give Norway this advice. For 2019, Switzerland, it come out through their HD, they can't start talk, say they say the one, Cameroun want talk with Ambazonia. Cameroun want talk with Ambazonia. Cameroun want talk with Ambazonia. It take them almost 6 months. They be used now this NGO before their government come, before the AGovC challenge them. Say, look, we no go get involved. When I go talk with the Sakos, when I go talk with the Akwangas, when I go talk with the Boherbets. As long as when I descend as some small NGO, me talk say Cameroun and Ambazonia, they want talk. No person will take una serious. If una want make this thing work, number one, the government of Switzerland, it get for take responsibility for the process. When I know we leave them for the hand for some small NGO. The AGovC force them. The AGovC say, we no will get involved until when a government says it come in. We no go get involved until when appoint an envoy. The Swiss, they come in themselves. The Swiss, they appointed an envoy. AGovC still tell them, say, when I don't come in, when I don't appoint an envoy, it never correct. When I get for show a commitment from the Cameroon government. When I no go only the come for the Ambazonian side, say Cameroun want talk. Cameroun is itself the shit don't quiet. When I show a commitment from a written commitment from Cameroun, the AGovC continue for insist. Say without a written commitment from Cameroun, we no go take una serious. It take 2.5 years. They continue for deceive the Ambazonian people. Sako they carry them for their head. They did travel across Ambazonian community. For go tell Ambazonia, they say, Cameroun want talk. You know, who said the commitment from Cameroun day? Norway, no one, Switzerland no be fit for sure. They even come for Canada here. And I challenge them for that hall. When I know fit work around our community, when I know one go get a simple commitment from Cameroun, when they can't deceive our people. It takes 2.5 years before the Norwegian, the Swiss, they come out, they can't talk, they say, well, Cameroun not be interested. And so then they would dissolve. But it takes 2.5 years of constant deception and manipulation of the Ambazonian people them. How many Ambazonians will be killed? Thousands of Ambazonians will be killed. Hundreds of communities will be burned down during that time. Hundreds of, if not thousands of Ambazonians, they will be taken hostage, and up to today, Cameroun, it keep them under hostage. How many Ambazonians, thousands of Ambazonians, they become refugees. They become displaced because the Swiss, they be failed for provide leadership. Then they come out. They say, oh, now na Canada pre-talks. They get the Ambazonia Governing Council for lead the charge, unite the Ambazonian people, bring nationalist movement together. Well, the Canadian government, they come up, they say, look, Cameroun, be serious. It's okay. 3 rounds of underground talks. They take place on October 2022, they take place on November 2022, and they take place on December 2022. The first round of pre-talks, it take place for the city where they call and say Montebello, for the province of Quebec. The second round of talk, it take place on November 2022 for the city where they call and say Mont-Tremblant, for the province of Quebec. And the final pre-talks, it will take place for the city of Toronto, for the province of Ontario. It be round up that last phase, it round up the pre-talks. They sign an agreement. They sign the pre-talks agreement where it lay a framework for negotiations. But why it failed? It failed because the Canadian foreign minister, when the Canadian foreign ministry for the Canadian federal government, now be the lead these talks. So the talks will take place at that higher level, but the Canadian foreign minister, Madame Jolie, it not come out for outside, for can't tell the world, say, the country of Canada, it don't bring Ambazonia and Cameroun together for work on a peace settlement agreement for end the conflict for Ambazonia. Their failure for take ownership and demonstrate that public leadership, it not give the process the credibility and the visibility where it need them for galvanize the international community for support that process. Then, even when they don't sign the final agreement for December, the Madame Jolie and the Prime Minister, they be supposed to come outside Ambazonia for one side, Cameroun for one side, the Canadian government for middle, and then they bring CNN, they bring CBC, they bring BBC. They be supposed to hold a press conference for announce the end of the pre-talks agreement and lay out the framework for the main negotiation. They failed for Duam. The failure for provide that public leadership now he make on December 31st when Mr. Paul Biya supposed to go for outside December 31st, 2022 for Mr. Paul Biya's speech. Mr. Paul Biya supposed to announce after that speech. Say they say for the last 3 months, he don't engage through the Canadians for a negotiated process for Ambazonia. Mr. Paul Biya for that speech, he not talk anything like that. He continue for talk about the war for fight the separatists. He end the process. 1 month, a few weeks later, they have Minister of Communication or Justice, Minister of Communication, they come out outside. They can't deny, say, Cameroon not get anything to do with the talks. He killed the process. Now, 2 years, 2 months later, almost the same time with the Swiss, the gap. How many Ambazonians don't be killed? Because Canada failed for provide public leadership, for give the process credibility. Thousands they don't be killed. Thousands they don't be displaced. Many picking they don't be killed. Many picking they need to go school. Hundreds of thousands of Ambazonians they don't become refugees. Thousands they don't be displaced. It don't increase the humanitarian crisis because they take Ambazonians for granted. Because both the Swiss and the Canadians they try to protect the French interest instead for stop the carnage. So they put the exploitation and protection of French interest ahead of the lives of the Ambazonian people. So it not be any different from what the Norwegians did do. It be very hypocritical for Norway, and we'll get for call their hypocrisy out. For Norway for send a delegation to Cameroon, the delegation come back, they bring a letter from the Cameroon government, they bring them back, they give them for their government, then their government, they call the AGovC leadership, they say, hey, we as we be tell when I say we go Cameroon, we don't come back, the letter this way, Cameroon government don't send them, now when a letter this, say they want to start negotiation with the winner. For that same moment, we Gov't of Norway to do this thing. The Norwegians, they keep Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba because for protect the French and Cameroon interest. So they keep Dr. Cho for prison because they feel, say, they say, now he be the only thing where it stand on their way for Cameroon for take back the territory. And for the French and the Western imperialists for continue for get free resources. So that made it protect a murderer. So Norway no fit play this game with the Ambazonian people. Norway no go play this game with the AGovC. If Norway be serious, first step, release the leader. Second step, you take public leadership. You own the process. Number 2, we don't tell Norway, we're not there for these games. For anything we concern negotiation between the Ambazonian Governing Council and the state of Cameroon, between the Ambazonian people and the state of Cameroon, it must be done in consultation with our partners of the for United States. It must be done in consultation with our partners for the US. Not be only Norway alone. All right? It not go only be only Norway alone. It must be done in consultation with our partners of moral global strategies. When then they rally the American government for stand for Ambazonia back. as guarantors. But I want to tell you today why Norway and Cameroun and France, they want to call for a negotiated settlement now. Why they want to talk for the AGovC now? Why did they try to negotiate? Now they want to go direct, get a direct negotiation with AGovC. Because as we don't tell you now, all conflicts that they come to an end, they did not, now when they bring the consequential actors together. Man, make me be clear for all Ambazonians. Ambazonians get many political shades of opinion. Everybody get it right for Duam. But not be everybody be involved in the fighting. The fight for Palestine. Palestinians they get about between 14, I think about 18 political movements. But when it comes for the war between Hamas, for the war for Gaza, now Hamas and Israel. The ceasefire agreement they sign them. They not sign them with all the 18 political movements for Palestine. Now only Hamas be shidon for the negotiation table. That conflict, because now Hamas defied the war with Israel. Now so conflict that it come to an end. So the notion, they say they must take everybody for bring them for table. It never ever solve any conflict like that. Now only the consequential actors from both sides that they enter into negotiated settlement because at the end they do the fighting. So the first step, that this acknowledgement of the consequentiality of the Ambazonia Governing Council, we don't talk over the last 7 years, but most people they need listen. Now the reality of how the international system they operate, it don't come in. And over the last 6 months, since the pick up Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, every other Ambazonian leader, it don't almost run, go hide. They be non-existent. The unity of the AGovC, the unity for maintain unity on the ground, it don't show the international community and the Norwegians and Cameroun will be the boss for this liberation struggle. Even in his absence, the organization be more united, more stronger, more powerful. The forces, they show a level of unity. So we must understand place where things that go. That's why the AGovC be very smart. Now the first thing that. The second thing with the push Cameroun now, for one can talk, now because of the lobby firm, the legal firm, with the AGovC, it make this big push into the new administration because we'll be anticipate Mr. Trump is winning and will be prepared for the swift changes in global dynamics and how it go make Europe go become inconsequential. So we'll be pivot and prepare ourselves for place ourselves for a position where it go give we will give Ambazonia the edge diplomatically. So we'll be prepared, we'll be anticipate 3 months before Trump the election and set ourselves and place Ambazonia for a position of strength during this period. The alignment, the anticipation of Trump's victory and our ability for take those kind of steps for set Ambazonia for a powerful path of alignment would place where the world they go and place where power they move into. It caused these people now that the fear say, they say, what if the US woke up one day and it make a unilateral declaration for the recognition of Ambazonia? Because they say, it happened. A conflict will don't go on for 3 months, for 3 years between Ukraine and Russia. The last administration, they not want to talk for the Russians. There be the fight for the strategic defeat of Russia. Mr. Trump, he come in, he say all the wars for this world must stop. Within the last 1 week and a half, the Russians and the Americans, they don't hammer in the negotiated agreement. The top, from the Secretary of Defense to the Secretary of State to the Special Envoy, all man, including the Vice President, that they move across the globe for fulfill Mr. Trump's agenda for end this conflict and create a peaceful world. That's leadership. They need to do these things for background. They do them in the open. When they work for the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, they do them in the open. When they sign the ceasefire agreement, they do them in the open. Why Norway the fear? When they start the negotiation between Russia and Ukraine, they do them in the open. Why be say when it comes for Ambazonia, everything therefore be done in the dark? Now who did it take? Why did he take it for granted? It must stop. It must stop. So if Norway they be serious, we don't give Norway two things what they need for doing. Two prescriptions. Number one, public leadership, for own up to their own process, for give that process validity and a face. Number two, they must do them in consultation with our US partners. There's no more discussions in the dark. Not with the AGovC and not with the Ambazonian people. And my message is for the Norwegians and for Cameroun today. It no will be business as usual anymore. Cameroun is a deceptive, manipulative country. They not be trustworthy. They are not a credible actor. They need to act on good faith until you show public authority. The Cameroun, it would take Norway just like it take Switzerland. It rob them for more. Take them, rob them for shit. Take the Canadians, rob them for shit. Cameroun will also take Norway, it rob them for shit. All right? So we call on our forces for be on guard, for continue with the resistance and the offensive operations against Cameroun. And any person will enter the Ambazonian territory for conduct elections, we not arrest you or we not take you out. Any person will enter the Ambazonian territory for conduct colonial election campaign, the Ambazonian forces, they must take the person out. Anyone who enter the Ambazonian territory for conduct election must be taken out. Must be taken out. Because now an act of foreign aggression and a declaration of war on the Ambazonian people then. At the time this, any person when a dog born here, make you enter Ambazonia. You carry your body, your bearing ground, you go back for Mvomeka, Nyamfuka. Now get a good day.
Welcome to ACN.